Hey, look at that.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi, MJ. Man, that's a beautiful background you got there, buddy.
Thank you. I am on Grandview Drive in Peoria, which is home of some of the coolest houses and the best view that Peoria has to offer.
Gotta
So,
love it,
for the
man.
last show that I'll ever be doing in Peoria, I thought it was fit because of my lack of internet anywhere else and because of the view to join you here for our NBA Finals preview with the best view that we may ever have for a show
That,
for the time
that
being.
might be the best view. Although the view that we get with you every week is always a very, very good show or a very good, So let's
Thank
be
you.
honest. Let's be honest. But anyways, I digress. All right, man. Well, I know a lot of you guys may have seen the opening during the little 5-minute session, but we are currently under construction. There are some some shifts, some changes, different things happening behind the scenes, and that includes for me as well. So that being said, we unfortunately weren't able to do beers and sports yesterday with Eric. But don't worry that we will be back with some more intriguing, amazing, tasty beers. Those aren't going away because we all love beer. At least I do. But not today.
It's okay.
But not today though. Today we're drinking coffee and water. I don't know.
Today we're drinking Melon Mania Rain.
Nice. But yeah, so I figured that I would start off the show talking about what we're doing with the construction, and we're basically just reshaping a little bit of the Third Down Thursdays and our avenues that we are going to be going down, to try to make things as best for our audience and us and future for Third Down Thursdays as possible.
Yes, and the biggest thing that I think you and I have been able to agree on, Bruce, and the reason we're doing a lot of the things we're doing is we're able to expand a little bit. We've grown our family, and because of that, we're going to be trying to actually be more legitimate, which is weird given that you and I have spent 2 years doing this as just us for the most part, and now we've been able to add some people to the family who are very talented as writers, very talented in other avenues that you and I can't even touch, such as
100%.
hockey and some baseball and a lot of things that you and I just don't bring to the table. So we want to give people opportunities to do that and focus on what they're doing. So like Bruce said, we'll get more into details in the next week, in the next month. We might want to do some rebranding in terms of, a little improvement on what things look like
Like a
for the show and
secondary.
all of that. So
We have a little secondary logo right now up on the screen if you guys don't
yes,
see it. So that was just a quick little we're testing water, seeing if people like it,
yes,
and, things like that. So
yeah. So don't get all that to say, don't get too comfortable. But no matter what, Bruce and I will always be here. No matter what graphics look like, or no matter what other things look like, Bruce and I will always be here, causing chaos and creating things for you.
It's good to see you too, the Bear of Texas.
Alex, my guy.
It's
I
great to
love
see you
him.
back. Oh, by the way, real quick, can I make a comment on his shirt that he has in his profile
Yes, you
picture right
can.
there?
Yes,
Dude,
you
I
can.
love that shirt. NWO, New World Order, old school WCW stuff. That's classic. I love that shit. That's throwback stuff. Like I was like, dude, like when I was sick, when I had COVID 2 weeks ago, I was watching old throwback
Oh
WWE
yeah.
videos. Sorry, I know I'm tangenting like always, but
No, Bruce, I think you would love Alex because he actually has covered some WWE stuff while he's down in Texas.
what?
So I think you two would get along very well.
My guy, let's
We might
go.
want to bring Alex on sometime. I know that's again something that's out of our realm normally, but you two definitely could cause some trouble when it comes to that. So we'll definitely do that sometime.
Love it. That's good stuff, though.
But
Oh,
yes,
thank you, Mike. Appreciate it, dude. Appreciate it.
yes, and to everybody, I apologize. One, for any noise of some very excited people driving by, and number two, because I'm on my phone. If you can't tell, because I don't have reliable internet access right now, unfortunately. I'll be doing the next 3 shows the next 3 weeks at my parents' house in Texas, so that's very fun. A setup you guys have seen a few times. But also because of that,
Keep
yes,
going.
under construction. But also because of that, I'm on my phone, which is about like 4 feet away from me right now. And for those of you who don't know, I'm very blind, so I cannot read comments that Bruce puts on the screen. I cannot see absolutely anything. So
It's
either
kind
Bruce is gonna have to narrate,
it's kind of
or
scary.
I'll read the comments afterwards. So y'all can say whatever you want about me, and I will have no idea. So free reign in the comments for the next 25 minutes. Let's roll.
I love it. I love it. Well, first and foremost, dude, appreciate you jumping on with with doing it the way you're doing it. To be honest with you,
Oh
that's a
yeah.
gorgeous background though. I am kind of jealous about that. But
Oh yeah. This is the one view. I may talk smack about Peoria, but this is the one view that no matter what, I'm gonna miss for sure. There's
dude, I don't blame you,
an
man. It's
ant
gorgeous.
on my phone. This is what I get when I do shows out in nature. There's an ant crawling around on my phone. Goodness.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But all right, man. Well, I guess we should probably start going on with the show and talking about what's going on tonight. I guess there's a big basketball game.
I suppose there is, and it's a basketball game that's very exciting for me personally. I've been a
Yeah,
Warriors
yeah.
fan for a while, and so many people love to give me crap about it
Since
because
they were
obviously,
good.
right, and that's what people always say. The response I give is I'm also an Oakland A's fan. So even though the Warriors started being good around when I started paying attention to basketball, my entire life, if anybody asked what fan I was, even though I grew up in Chicago, I didn't say the Bulls. And I would always say the Warriors. I didn't pay attention to them until they started being good. I will 100% give credit to that, but I do have a faint memory of the 2005 We Believe Warriors. So I have that memory in my head.
Dude, I love I love it.
That's the basis, the actual like Oakland culture that I've grown attached to from the A's and that brand of Warriors basketball. That's what I love. And so the thing for me that is my favorite out of this finals, all of the storylines, you've got some great storylines. My personal favorite is the fact that both teams are pretty much homegrown.
100%.
Really, the only addition on either side that you could even try to argue is Wiggins for the Warriors. But even then, he was somebody that nobody wanted. They traded D'Angelo Russell for Andrew Wiggins.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thought that was a loss for the Warriors. They were even, Nick Wright said this is a trade that will take Steph Curry will never be in the NBA Finals again. And then so for the Warriors, that's the only like addition. The only guy that isn't homegrown is Andrew Wiggins. For the Celtics, I mean, maybe Al Horford, who spent some time other places. Other than that, they're pretty much homegrown.
And Thea, well, I mean, would you consider Theus homegrown for them? Like he's played. I
Yeah,
mean, he was
Daniel
drafted.
Tice. So yeah,
Tice,
Horford
excuse
and
me.
Tice both
I said Theus.
began their careers. You did say Theus. Both Horford and Tice really started the best part of their careers in Boston,
In
left to go
Boston.
other places, made some more money, and then came back to Boston. So again, those are really ticky-tacky things that I
He
don't
played for
really
the Bulls.
count. Did he?
Yeah, Tice played for the Bulls for a very, very short time. I don't think.
Yikes.
I remember him being a part of them. I don't know. I think it was early in the season. Let me double check on it. Go ahead. Sorry.
He definitely belongs in Boston. But overall, these are two teams, two organizations that have grown their talent. They've built their basketball teams around a style of basketball they like playing, and the two styles of basketball mesh really well into really good defense versus really good offense. That's what you want to see in an NBA Finals. Obviously, the Warriors' defense is good, and the Celtics have some guys who can score buckets on command. But it really is the Celtics defense versus the Warriors offense in a homegrown NBA Finals, which, given all the storylines and all the crap we've heard about super teams in the last 4 or 5 years, it's very good to see that type of storyline dominate in NBA Finals.
No, I love that. And to speak to actually what you said about homegrown talent, this Celtics team was built because of another team screwing up on trades. And that team was back in 2014 when I think it was 2014 when they made the trade with the Nets, the Celtics did, to acquire 5 players, and along with those 5 players, they ended up acquiring draft picks and draft compensation, which ended up being Jaylen Brown and Tatum.
And the Celtics not only screwed over the Nets, they also screwed over another team in their division, the 76ers.
Right.
So just a lesson for the entire Atlantic division. don't trade with the Celtics because it doesn't go well. So for the Raptors and Knicks, if you haven't learned your lesson already, don't trade with the Celtics because you're going to end up giving them generational talents.
For
Just
real.
a general life lesson.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. But so yeah, no, to speak to what you said too. Now to go with on the Warriors side, obviously Steph Curry, obviously Klay Thompson, drafting Poole, Looney. I think they got Looney from the Bulls draft pick. Am I wrong on that? Or
Yep,
traded?
that was the 32nd pick, and I want to say the 2019 draft.
And they gave him money. I think the Bulls.
Yes, the Bulls. Yeah, the Bulls literally just took some cash for that pick because
That's
there
all it
wasn't
was.
anybody they liked. And honestly, Kevon Looney hasn't been a superstar, but he's
He's a
somebody
good
that
role guy.
he can get you 15 and 15. And a lot of the things
He's a
people will say
role
about
guy.
Al Horford are very similar with Kevon Looney. He's a little younger in his career. He doesn't have the three-point shot that Al Horford has. But Kevon Looney is a much better offensive rebounder. And at this point in time, he's much more athletic than Al Horford is. And Kevon Looney can defend. I mean, you saw in the last few series, they would put him in pick and rolls with John Morant, with Luka Doncic, and even, with some of the quicker guards that Denver showed him in the first round. And Kevon Looney could keep up. Obviously, it's not a desired matchup to have Kevon Looney guarding, Jaylen Brown or someone like that. But I'm not losing my mind. Right. But I'm not losing my mind if Kevon Looney ends up switched on Brown or Tatum. And that's something that is huge for the Warriors to say when their center position has been the one thing that everyone questioned for the last 8 years.
Well, they really haven't, like, the type of basketball that they play. They really haven't. That's a Harley, by the way.
It is.
The type of basketball that they play really doesn't affect or need a center. You know what I'm saying? Like,
correct.
It's not a huge. It's not huge. Man, someone in our chat's really trying to get at me right now. They're like 15 and 15 sounds like Rex Grossman touchdown interception numbers.
Oh my gosh.
He's bust out the Rex Grossman. Sexy Rexy. Don't throw
is it
Rexy.
I think it's Joe.
That's
I think
awesome.
it's Bruce. I think it's Joe from the draft. Because I was talking to him earlier.
Is that Joe? Joe, is that you, dog?
I think it is.
I think
it because
why you gotta
Joe and I are going to be doing.
Is he coming at me with some bullshit ass freaking Rex Grossman?
Yes,
I don't
he
need
is.
Rex Grossman. Come on now. Oh, it is Joe. What's up, Joe?
Yep. Because Joe and I are going to be doing something together for Game On Wisconsin. So we were talking for like an hour before I hopped on with you, and he said he was going to come give you some crap. So
he should. He should. That's good.
But no, I think the matchup that I want you to talk about Bruce the most, because the most Bruce guy that I see in this series is Marcus Smart.
I love that.
And
I love him.
He's the best defender. He's the most inconsistent on offense, which I feel like is you on a basketball court. And he's just going to get in your face. He's the Draymond Green personality that the Celtics have. Not quite as likely to get technical fouls, but he can get baited into them just as easily as Draymond has. So Bruce, in the Marcus Smart versus Curry matchup, who do you see winning that over the entirety of the finals?
If Steph Curry averages anything above 27 points against Marcus Smart, it's a win. That's a win for the Warriors. That's a win for that matchup for Curry, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So to speak about like Marcus Smart real quick though, not even looking at numbers, sorry, I keep getting updates on like everything's trying to update on my laptop right now. Just so fair warning, if you see me like looking at the multiple screens. The one thing I actually really like about him, just from the eye test and everything that I've seen with him, is he's a huge asshole. He's an asshole, and I love that.
Yep.
You need players like that on your team, because if you do look at his stats, he plays defense. He's obviously defensive player of the year. First guard to win it, I think, since Gary Payton. I could be wrong on that, but please, someone correct me.
Sounds right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure someone will. In addition to that, though, he is just what the hell is it called? He's just a team guy like this. So during the past season, he's averaged 6 assists per game.
Yeah, and he runs the point for them.
He's an ultimate team guy. He doesn't need to score. He averages like 13 points a game. Nothing crazy, nothing outrageous. He stays in his lane. He knows what his worth to that team. He knows his role, and that's one of the things. As a basketball coach, you want guys like this on your team, because any other team that's playing against this guy doesn't want to play against this guy because he's an ass. That like, flat out. Like, I wouldn't. I hated playing against guys like that, because honestly, they'd get in your head, or they would just be, all up in your grill. And I think he's stronger than Steph Curry. I think that the one thing
they are the same. They are basically listed the same size and height and weight, which I think is interesting.
Damn well that's not the case whatsoever. We had that talk.
They may be the same. They may be the same height, but there's no way that Steph Curry and Marcus Smart are the same weight.
No way. We had that talk last week. There is no way. And to be no, not at all. Not absolutely not. But,
Curry's 195 soaking wet.
Right, exactly. So no, I don't think I really don't think that. I don't want to go into it yet, because we still have like 15 more minutes left. But the matchup between those two is going to be fun to watch. The one thing that the Warriors have on their side, and it goes against what some NBA analysts, some actual professionals in this have said, is that the Celtics have a better half-court offense than the Warriors. Nope. It's not true.
Incorrect.
Whatsoever. It's not true whatsoever.
Tell the people why, Bruce.
You like that? That was good. I was looking at some of the analytics about the Warriors and the Celtics, but Warriors more specifically right now. And there is an advanced stat called screen assist points per game. What that means is players coming off screens and scoring off said screen, or screen rolls, or anything like that. And the Warriors led the NBA this year at 23 points a game off of screen assists per game, points per game, excuse me.
Which means about 20% of their points are coming off of screens.
Right. And what that tells me is that guys are setting good screens. You have Looney setting good screens. You have who else? Who am I missing?
Draymond
Green, obviously. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Draymond Green,
right,
setting screens.
The biggest screen game they run is Steph and Draymond, and then Draymond kicks off of the screen, because they'll double Steph. Draymond's open, drives to the basket, kicks out of that.
Exactly. No, it's and you can obviously slip screens too, and I don't think that's a part of that advanced stat. But to speak on that again, that's the reason why the brand of basketball that the Warriors play is absolutely insane, and it's fun to watch. It's good stuff, but I know we've been blowing smoke up the Warriors' ass this whole time. I do want to say also defensive ratings, that the Celtics this year led the NBA in defensive ratings.
Yep.
Guess what team was second? The Warriors. But we won't get into that. I had something to say about that too.
Bruce, the Celtics. I heard this on the Game 7 broadcast against the Heat, and I want to say that it was Jeff Van Gundy that said this. Each of the Celtics starters, their starting five, which is Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, Robert Williams. Yep. All five of those gentlemen received votes for Defensive Player of the Year.
Which is insane.
That has never happened in NBA history, that a team starting five all got votes for Defensive Player of the Year. And not just votes, first place votes. Every single one of them. So when you're looking at a team that's first in defensive rating, if you want to talk about a team that can switch everywhere, a team that can literally do it all defensively, the Celtics present the most difficult defensive matchup that the Warriors have seen all season, and they're going to see it for 7 straight games, possibly. So if you are the Golden State Warriors, you absolutely wanted the Celtics to lose that game 7. Because yes, the Heat are a really good basketball team. They play very good team defense. But statistically speaking,
I think it would have been
throughout the entire season, it's really difficult to score the basketball against the Boston Celtics. The Warriors are one of the best offenses we've seen in history. So it's again, that matchup, you have more stats to back those things up, but just, on the face of it, it's incredible historic defense against incredible historic offense.
Right, and then that's exactly it. And like, I know ESPN's BPI says the Celtics are overwhelmingly favorited to win this. I don't know if you've seen that, but
I have not.
they're the overwhelming favorite. The Celtics are the overwhelming favorite according to ESPN's BPI
Really?
to win the series. Yes, I think that is
Okay.
incredibly inaccurate. I don't like it. I don't think that they're overwhelmingly favored. They should be overwhelmingly favored. I don't think so. Um, so the only area in which I see the Celtics having a absolute significant advantage, not significant, an advantage in is rebounding. That's the only area that I can see right now the Celtics having any kind of what do you want to call it? Advantage in. Sorry.
Honestly, and I understand where that's coming from because the big rotation on paper for Boston is going to look better. But the Warriors out rebounded Denver with Nikola Jokic. They out rebounded the Mavericks easily. That was a team that they weren't worried
Yeah.
about. And then they also out rebounded the Grizzlies, even when the Grizzlies were running out lineups of Jaren Jackson Jr. and Steven Adams, who are both bigger and have better rebounding numbers than anyone on the Warriors. The Warriors rebound as a team. They don't have to have, like you said, they don't have to have a star center. Draymond Green at 6'6" plays the center position, and he's the same height as their shooting guard, Klay Thompson, who is also 6'6". So,
Mhm.
they don't need a star center. Obviously, there very well will be a game or two where the Celtics are going to dominate on the glass just because of pure size. But another reason that the Warriors rebound so well, the Celtics do the same thing, is because their defense is so good, because they're in such good positions. They make people take really bad shots. They force offenses out of their norm. And so, in terms of offensive rebounding, teams rebound offensively really poorly against the Warriors and the Celtics because they're out of position, they're tired, they just don't know, they're just in shambles offensively. But both of
I
these
love
teams also play offense really well, and so you have a top 5 offense on both sides and the first and second defense. I mean,
on
it
both
for
sides. Right.
analytics nerds, right? For analytics nerds and for people who, love the two best teams to make it to the NBA finals, in
Yeah.
terms of analytics, these are the two best teams in the NBA, and we're going to get to see them for, hopefully, in my opinion, even as a Warriors fan, even though this would give me an absolute heart attack, I want a 7-game series.
Dude, like I agree, and at the very least, this series is going 6. That's what I said in
Yeah,
our pre-show. That's like what I'm going to say now. It's at least going 6. I guess I'm gonna start kind of rounding about. I think this series is going to go 7. It's
I
going to be
agree.
absolute chaos fun. Real quick to speak to your comment though about rebounding. Per 48 minutes, the Celtics had an average of 10 box outs. And again, as a coach, that's a huge thing. And
Right.
that's around, top 1, 2. Yeah, that's third best in the NBA. Sorry, I was looking at something else too.
Okay.
But dude, they're good, man. Like the Celtics just
Yeah.
play a style of basketball and like their defensive footwork, their movement, everything that they do, like the hustle stats that they
The
have,
rotations are amazing.
rotations are insane. Like every advanced stat that they have for hustling, rebounding, and whatever, they're in the top 5 categories. But guess who else is? The
The
Warriors.
Warriors.
And
And that's why, honestly, Bruce, even as a Warriors fan, like I haven't told you my prediction yet. And one of the reasons I haven't told you my prediction is because I can't make up my mind. Um,
I'm
like,
kind of the same way. But
and it's, everything we've gone over, this could very well be one of the best NBA finals we've seen in a considerable amount of time.
I would say it doesn't have the star
Obviously,
power aside from the Warriors.
it doesn't have the star power, but I don't think that inherently matters.
True.
This is the
Fair.
opportunity for Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown to become stars. Jason Tatum is almost there. He's had some really big moments, but even like in Game 7 against the Heat, Jimmy Butler got more attention than Jason Tatum did. You want to know
True.
why? Because Jimmy Butler almost went off for 40. He played 48 minutes, and he just had a superhuman performance, trying to get his team to the finals. The issue Tatum and Brown will have is they're still playing pure team basketball. And that's one of the things that people have knocked Curry and Thompson and everyone for years, is that, could Curry win on his own? He doesn't have to win on
He
his
doesn't
own.
have to.
MJ had Scotty. Like, you're always in today's basketball, you're not going to win on your own. That's not a thing anymore. Brown and Tatum have to become the guys, and this is their best chance to do it offensively and defensively.
Again, to say, to kind of compare it from what we did last, the only team I've seen that won a NBA championship that had guys that were kind of cusp stars or cusp, like really, really awesome basketball players, were the Detroit Pistons when they had Chauncey Billups, Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, and Rip Hamilton. That team was awesome, and Tayshaun Prince. Wow, it's amazing that I actually remember that.
Wow. And that
other,
was, honestly, I think that, Bruce, sorry to interrupt, but I think that is a really good comparison to the Celtics team. Like, you've got plenty of name guys that but even with Jason Tatum being the leading scorer, he isn't overwhelmingly the guy. Like, he'll put up 28, 30. Jaylen Brown will put up 24. Marcus Smart will put up 19. Al Horford will put up 15. Grant Williams Derek White will put off 10 off the bench. Like, they really do it as a team.
One thing I really liked about that Pistons team too, they obviously beat the Lakers in the finals, and they also had, I believe that year, Ben Wallace won Defensive Player of the Year.
Correct. With a ridiculous block number, like 3+ blocks per game.
Rasheed Wallace was absolutely insane himself on the defensive end with rotations and calling out stuff. And I just remember an article that I read. I think I've talked about that before, but it just really, really stuck with me. But anyway, so I think the comparison to the Detroit Pistons to right now for the Boston Celtics is a pretty decent one. Do I think Tatum and Brown are better basketball players than Hamilton and probably Chauncey Billups? I guess that's the best comparison. Yeah, I do. I think they are. They have the potential to be better basketball players. And more name brand type basketball players too. But again, I think, man, like I'm telling you, like this, dude. See, I keep waffling back and forth with.
I know, I see it.
With what I want to do, man. But okay, so I'm gonna go back to. So we only got like 2.5 minutes left. So I think I'll do my picks first because I know that people are just clamoring for yours right now. We have everybody just like yelling at me. Yeah, I hear chants outside my house. All right, so I already talked about defensive ratings, talked about Celtic stuff. So 3-point shooting in the playoffs, you would actually think that the Warriors would have shot more per game. It's not true. Celtics actually shoot more threes per game than the Warriors do. However, the Warriors make 38% because they have the best 3-point shooter of all time, whereas the Celtics only shoot 36%. All right, screen assist, we did talk about that. Basically, you know what? I did talk about everything that I wanted to talk about. You kind of took my thunder a little bit with the whole built team. Both teams are built; they weren't bought, which is awesome. One thing though that is kind of a crazy stat, but not really, because I think it's kind of bullshit. Because it's like no shit. The team that wins the first game of the NBA Finals is the team that wins 70% of the games or series, I should say. So there's a reason for that because they're the home team. Shit. No shit.
That is correct.
Anyways, so I think the series goes 7 games. I think Steph Curry wins the MVP, and I think that the Golden State Warriors have one of, if not their best championship run of this dynasty for them.
So, Bruce, I'm going to pull from your playbook real quick. And I think it's interesting that on this topic specifically, we're going to be reversed on how we normally are. I'm going to put the stats away for a minute because I think in basketball specifically, you have the ability with 5-on-5, such, mano a mano matchups.
Yeah.
One person or one coach can make a huge difference. And when you have an NBA Finals experienced team, specifically with Curry, Clay, and Dre,
Mhm.
You have Steve Kerr, who has more playoff experience than anybody who's going to be on the court put together at this point. You have Steve Kerr versus first-year Ime Udoka, who has been incredible for Boston this year. The things he's done in that locker room have been paramount to them getting to the finals. Ultimately, I don't think that Boston is going to be ready for how chill and how calm the Golden State Warriors are going to be.
Dude, Curry was out getting his golf clubs re-gripped the other day.
Exactly. Steph Curry is going to be ready. Steve Kerr is going to be ready. The Golden State Warriors are going to be ready. Boston has to go into the Chase Center 4 times. Granted, it's not Oracle Arena. It's not as loud as it used to be now that they've moved into the Bay and away from Oakland. But the Golden State Warriors, that fan base, that team, that coaching staff, Andre Iguodala being around even if he's not playing, being able to speak to Andrew Wiggins, being able to speak to Jordan Poole, who already plays like a veteran, already is experienced like a veteran.
He's a
Golden
stud.
State is deeper. They have more bucket getters. They can be almost just as good at defense, and they have more experience on the coaching staff and the players. I think if
I
you
would
look
argue
at all
they
the
are as good
boxes
defensively.
Yeah, and so if you, I think if you look at every box, Golden State at least matches the Boston Celtics or goes above and beyond. So ultimately, I'm going to go Warriors in 6. I think this series has the chance to make it to 7, but Boston has to win one of the first 2 games
They have
at the
to.
Chase Center. If they don't do that, it's Warriors in 6, and that's at the worst.
I agree. Well, I mean, that's typically that's not bad. We actually did it fairly quick, half hour show. So we both agree that the Warriors are going to come out of this as NBA champions.
Correct.
Well, good stuff. And the game starts
Yes, sir.
in half hour, right?
Yeah, it won't actually start till like 8:15 because
8:15.
NBA games don't start on time. So
That's true.
everybody's got 45 minutes. I'm going to go pick up some food. The missus and I are going to watch the game, and I'm sure you and I will be texting plenty. I'm going to be throwing out some stuff on the Twitter account, so
I
be
was
watching
gonna
out
say
for that.
I might be tossing some stuff up on Twitter as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
So on the
For
Twitters,
sure.
on the Twitters, I
We're
want to
going to
play
do
with
the
some
tweeting.
Twitters. I want to play with some Twitters.
Oh, I bet you do. But yeah, Bruce, thank you for doing all the producing today, since, obviously I can't do that.
No,
Thank you to
all good.
everybody for watching. It's been a pleasure to do a lot of all of our shows almost from Peoria. So
Appreciate
thank
you,
you
Alex.
everybody who's watched and supported. I'll get sentimental real quick. We started our show in quarantine and COVID, and then I've literally done probably 75% of my shows from Peoria. So this is the last time, as far as I know, that I'll be doing a show from here. So very excited. It's been a pleasure, and I'm excited to see what we can do with me in Mississippi for the next 4 years.
Mississippi, MISSISSIPPI. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother.
All right.
Good shit. Good show. Safe travels. And by the way, that view is still absolutely stunning.
It's beautiful. I'm gonna take a selfie before I leave. I'll post it on Twitter.
I was talking about you.
Love you, Bruce.
Love you too, buddy.
Bye bye.
Hey.